Welcome to another S&P 500 Trade Watch video. Today is July the 3rd, 2022. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the possible trade scenario with various level to keep an eye on for the S&P 500 ETF, the SPY, the Nasdaq 100 ETF, the QQQ, and the Russell 2000 ETF, the IWM. In addition, we're going to take a look at Apple and also Tesla. Stay tuned. Looking at the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, we see that last week it also came down to the lower range of the expected move and then closed just above it back inside of the range. Now for the coming week, the upside expected range for the expected move will be somewhere between 392 and 390.60. And then on the lower range of the expected move will be somewhere around 372 to 369. So those are the two range to keep an eye on. Now let's take a look at the potential upside scenario for the coming week. We'll see that the price is sitting right near this edge here of this high volume area. And what we want to see is would it be able to get above this and come up into this high volume zone here and see would it be able to move up into this upper range of the expected move somewhere around 390 and 392. And we see that there is this high volume node here just above 390 or so. So watch for that level to present some resistance there. Now, if it could move through this zone here and come up and tag this point of control here, this virgin point of control, and that is somewhere around 397. And if it could move through this 397, then look for this gap fill. Right? Look for this potential gap fill here. And it's a gap fill. And that's, I mean, the market is going to be really putting some sort of a short squeeze out of these people looking for, right? If that is to occur, then watch out. And we could see a move coming back up to the 406 area. Now for the downside, we basically are looking once again, let's put this zone back in. For the downside is that be watching that it failed to be able to hold above this upper edge of this balance area, this high volume area, and then come back in to this point of control. And this is somewhere around 276 area here. And then see would it come down and tag this right here, this high volume node here, and also move through into this lower range here, this 373, and possibly get into this range. That would be the 372. Now, if it cut through this range here, this expected move lower range, then look for this point of control to get tagged, and this virgin point of control is somewhere around 367.5. Then look for this zone here, this high volume zone, to get retraced. Looking at the QQQ, the ETF for the Nasdaq 100, as you can see, price also went below the lower range of the expected move last week, and it came back in and closed just right up inside of this lower range of the expected move. And for the coming week, the upper range of the expected move will be somewhere around 292.50 and 291. And for the lower range of the expected move will be 273.30 and 271. So those are the range to keep an eye on for the expected move. Now let's go and take a look at the potential long scenario for the coming week. And essentially we have this balance area, this high volume area here. And also we have another high volume area up here. So what I'll be looking for is for the price to get up above this high volume area and then get into this high volume area. Then we'll look for potential long to see would it be able to get up to this upper range and possibly get up to this edge here near 295. So we'll be watching if we could get above the 288.68, essentially, somewhere around 289, then look for potential long to, play it up to somewhere around 295. Okay, so that is the potential long scenario. Now, for the short scenario, what we're going to be watching for is for the price to come back in to this zone here, get down to this somewhere around 280. Let's see what this is, 279.50. This naked point of control here, and also this naked point control 275. Okay, so we're essentially watching for this high volume zone to get retraced. So for the price to come back in, then we essentially look for these, naked point of control and also this version point of control to get tagged and see what it come into this edge and get a bounce. If it doesn't, if it break, then look for the expected move lower range to get tagged once again, just like last week here, and then see what it get down to this 271, 273 area, and essentially come into this zone here, this high volume zone. So those are the potential long and potential short scenario to keep an eye on. And here on IWM, the ETF for the Russell 2000, as you can see last week, it also dipped into the lower range of the expected move and also closed back inside of the expected move range here. So for the coming week, we're looking at a upper range of 177.46 and 176.50. So that would be the upper range of the expected move. And for the lower range will be 166.35 to 164.96. So essentially the 165 area for the lower range. So these are the two zones to keep an eye on within the expected move for the coming week. Now let's take a look at the potential long scenario. I'm going to map out this high volume zone here. Okay, right now the little bit of expanded zone now instead of here. Remember that was last week. So let me expand this down, and we do this here. So this is the high volume zone that we'll be watching for the coming week. And what we're going to do is we're going to see would it be able to get above here and move up and tag this high volume node. That's the 174. If we could get above 174, then we could look for potential long to swing up here to this upper range here of the expected move between 176 and 177.5. Okay, then if we could get to this expected move upper range, then look for this virgin point of control to get possibly tagged here, which is somewhere around 179. For the downside scenario is essentially that it failed to move up above this high volume zone and come back in, then we'd be looking for potential short to play it down into the lower edge of this zone here, and that would be somewhere around this 167. So if we could break this 167, then look for this lower range of the expected move between 166 and 165 area to get tagged, and we'll see would it be able to hold this range. And if it doesn't, then we are looking for the price to come down into this zone here, this high volume zone, and possibly come down and tag this 164 before it move back in. So those are some of the downside level to keep an eye on the downside scenario. Looking at the Apple daily chart, I added this resistance zone here from last week's price action, and that would be up at near this 144, 145 area, and also maintain these two zones here, this support zone, and this could be a support zone right now. The last week I was looking at this as a potential resistance zone. And looking at this 30-minute chart of Apple, as you can see, last week, the price did come down to this expected move lower range here, and then it closed back inside the range. Remember, the one of the scenario was to expect this price to come in to this range. And right now, for the coming week, the upper zone for the expected range will be somewhere between 144 and 143.31. And the lower range of the expected move will be somewhere around 134.46 and 133. So those are the zone for the coming week. Now let's go and take a look at a possible long scenario for the coming week for Apple. And here we see that there is a VPOC divergent point of control. So we want to see would it be able to get above this VPOC and move into this high volume zone here and possibly get above it. If it could get above this, then we're basically looking for this thing to come up and try to get up to this edge here on this high volume area, and that will take it up to the resistance zone that we just identified on the daily chart, and also this upper range of the expected move. So that is the upside scenario. And then for the downside, be looking to possibly roll over or just come down from this high volume area, and be looking for this thing to come down to tag this point of control and move down to this low volume area here that we have over here near the 135 and change, and see would it come down and tag the lower range here of the expected move down at the 134, 135 area. Okay, that will be the downside. Now, if it comes down and move below this expected range lower zone, then look for this version point of control, this VPOC at 132, get tagged and essentially fill this gap. Then we're basically looking at to see, essentially would it get a bounce off of this version point of control, or would it continue to come down and possibly try to test this zone here. Okay, so that is the downside scenario for Apple. Okay, let's take a look at Tesla. This is the daily chart of Tesla. And I still have this resistance zone and also this support zone for Tesla. So it's basically somewhere near the 780, 760 level on this resistance zone, and somewhere down at the 627 level for the support zone here. And switching over to the 30-minute chart for Tesla, notice that the price came into this lower range of the expected move, lower range here last week. And one of the scenario, basically the downside scenario that I was watching, was to come down to this area here. So I'm just going to leave it here for now. And the coming week, the expected range, the expected move upper range is 750 to 736 on the upside, and 627 to 612 on the downside. Now let's take a look at this composite volume profile that I have set up for Tesla. It's the same one as last week, except that it kind of got filled in a little bit here because of last week's price action down here. So if you look at this two high volume zone, somewhere around here, let's say that we cut it off near these edges here, and we could see that it looks like a capital B type of double distribution profile here. So for the coming week, for those that are looking for the upside scenario that I will watch out for is for the price to come up to this upper high volume zone here and see what it stay above, and then come up to this composite point of control somewhere around 716, 717, and then chop around and see would it be able to move up into this upper range of the expected move inside of this 736 and 750. Now, when it get up to this 750 area, that extension to come up to this edge here, which is the composite value area high. So, and we could, make a move above that before it come back down. That is the upside scenario. Here on the downside, I'm basically looking for this to come up and fail to come back into the upper zone, and then come back down to this lower high volume zone. Then I'd be watching for this to trace down to the lower edge of this high volume zone here, down here at near the 640 level, and possibly come down to this low, this lower range here of the expected move at 627 and 612, essentially come down to this little bit of a high volume balance area. That would be the downside that I'd be watching for Tesla for the coming week. So those are some of my upside downside scenario for the SPY, QQQ, IWM, Apple, and Tesla for the coming week. And be sure to smash that thumbs up to help me promote this video on YouTube. Thank you for watching and stay safe.